What is good, Osiris? Back live. And this time I brought a friend. Carlos, friend of show, Patriots of the American Republic, Prime Animations. Carlos, what's good? How you feeling, man?
What's up, Osiris? I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Good, of course, anytime, man. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you do with your Prime Animations, because we talked about that once briefly, but let's refresh it. Really cool stuff, especially for people like me who grew up in the 90s or with Transformers and all that kind of stuff. Great stuff. And then what happened when the woke mob came for you? So break it down for everybody. What are you doing with Prime Animations?
Yeah, sure. So with Prime Animations, basically, it's just something that I started to do freelance. But what I tried to do is do a Transformers animated cartoon. You know, like you, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I loved Transformers, GI Joe, Voltron, Thundercats. I mean, you name it, I was in it, right? And I have a special affinity for Transformers all throughout my entire life. I still collect action figures. My entire garage is full of them. As you can see right here, I have it up on my desk. And it's just my thing, right? It's my hobby. So every like 4 or 5 years, they revamp the series of Transformers, make it fresh, make it new. And back in 2013, they did, 2009, it ended in 2013. They did a show called Transformers Prime, which was just 100% CGI, computer generated images. And it was phenomenal. I enjoyed it, and it lasted 3 seasons. And after the third season, it stopped. Right, they ended it. And so I just had a love for it. I said, you know what? Why don't I do it? Why don't I just put my talents together? I can draw, I can model, I can animate, and let me do my own story. And so I did a couple of sample concept arts, and I went ahead and posted it in some Transformers forums. Got a bunch of people to help me out, a little over 20 actually, and we've been working on this project ever since.
So you got 20 people on board helping you out. Now, are they getting paid, or is this sounds like a labor of love?
It's 100% labor of love. Nobody's gotten paid. We started out with 20. As people completed their assignments, if they could not transition to another area, let's say, then they were pretty much done, for example, right? So right now we're down to an essential skeleton crew of less than 5. But these are the 5 that need to be here to finish what needs to get done.
Wow. So where's the project at? Is it like to do a movie, or is it a short animation, or
No, it's a movie. It's a
oh,
full-fledged feature film. It's an hour and a half movie, roughly.
wow.
Yeah, and we plan to do a trilogy. So we're making it happen. We're moving along. What we've been doing is uploading the individual scenes. One of the delays that we had is we switched softwares. What the original software got discontinued, so we moved it over to another one, hoping that we can get better quality and then also additional help since that particular software is free. And so we kind of had to start from the beginning, but not necessarily completely from the beginning. So that has taken some time. And so what we decided to do, instead of prolonging the project, we just decided we're going to post the scenes as we're finished with them. So that way the audience, the fans, can see it as it goes.
That's pretty cool. So I have this up on the screen now, if you can see it. Are we
Yep.
looking at scenes from the movie?
This is actually the intro trailer. This is what we use, and it's fully rendered, this portion.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. It's a good one to go with. Wow, that's crazy. So dope. I mean, that looks like it was done from like a multi-million-dollar studio or something. How are you able to do all that and make it look like it's like a professional, like with a budget of millions of dollars and stuff like that?
It's not easy, man. Like dedication, passion. Like I said, we had a team. My background, as far as profession goes, has some project management in there. So what I did
Oh,
was I put that to work, and I gathered the people. And I think on a weekly basis or a biweekly basis, we had meetings, and everybody had an assignment. And then we let everybody know where we were at. And it started out with modeling characters, modeling the vehicles, then modeling the environments, and so on and so forth. And that's how we progressed little by little.
nice, nice. That project management, that sounds like it comes in handy. Being able to,
Yeah, it did for that. I will admit it did for that.
yeah, good stuff. Who does the writing for the stories? And one of the best parts of the Transformers back in the day is like the incredible storytelling. Who's doing the writing for that?
Well, for our project,
Yeah.
that would be me.
Oh, you're doing all the writing?
I did the writing. Yep, I did all the
Wow.
writing. I wrote a trilogy out because I believe that if you know that you've got a really good movie, you're going to write a story to maximize on the on that story, right? You're going to maximize it. And we live in a day and age of trilogies. So why would you write a story to and limit yourself to just one film unless you don't really have confidence that you're going to get the second and the third? So that's the position that I took, and that's how I wrote it.
Wow. So you wrote out 3 movies? That
Yes,
is
sir.
not
We've
easy.
got this current one is called Galvatron's Revenge, as you saw there in the title. The next one is going to be called Dinobots Unleashed, and then the third one is called The Ultimate Annihilation.
Nice, nice. So were you always a writer, or is that something you just picked up for this project?
No, I'm not a writer, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
but I'm pretty creative, and I've always enjoyed comics, and I've done my own comics, like hobby wise and stuff like that. So, to me, it's not that big of a stretch.
Wow, wow, incredible stuff. To me, I look at this and I can almost feel like when I go through the videos, you can almost feel like it's a labor of love compared to some multi-million-dollar studio creation to fill a void to make toys or whatever else. You can feel that it's like a special thing. That's why it looks like some of those have like 12 million plus views on them.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, it's a team effort. Really, like we had like I think 8 different people modeling at one point. That specific animation sequence was done by our previous lead animator, which is Jonathan. He's the one that set us off to on the Blender software, and he's the guru that was able to mimic the visuals and so on and so forth. And he's the one that really set us up to have what you see there. So, like I said, it's a team effort. Everybody has contributed and everybody's poured out so that what the audience sees, hopefully will be enjoyable.
Oh, great, great. So it seems like there's also a subculture around it where there's a bunch of fans following the project. You've got thousands of subscribers on there, millions of views. Tell me about that. Is it already like a cult following with it?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely Transformers has its own community, just like every other community. Sometimes more than likely they intermingle, right? You've got your Star Wars community, right?
Mm.
You've got a GI Joe community. Everybody has a community about something. So yeah, there's a Transformer community out there, and we've managed to increase our viewership. We've got almost 30,000 subscribers. I know that might be pretty low for other people that are doing other things, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just doing this for love and passion and as a hobby. I'm not really doing it to get famous, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, you can feel that it's a passion there, and then the views show a lot. I look at the views more than anything. There's some interest when you got 12 million views. There's some interest in the project, and the reason why I wanted to have you come on was to talk about the project, and then also it kind of blends with topics we've seen with other creators, actors, creatives. Is it fair to say that in some aspects, a woke mob ended up trying to come to you to take down this whole project? It's just a labor of love about Transformers and good storytelling.
Yep. Yeah. So what took place was, to my shock, right? We've had this project going since 2014, to be honest with you. And our targeted release date was about 2017. But since we switched softwares, everything got thrown out of whack. We backed up. We had to, redo everything, like I mentioned before. So we're 9 years into this project. It's absolutely for free, right? Nobody's getting paid for this. Like I said, it's voluntary. And our original desire was to just post this for everyone to see. We originally started a Kickstarter, and we asked for, honestly, 80 grand. And the reason we asked for 80 grand was because I had seen some folks doing art projects and they were asking for like 120 grand, or no, actually one guy asked for 80 and he got 120, and it was for a 15-minute webisode. And I'm like, well, crud, if he can get 120, then we could do 80. We can get the equipment that we need, and we could even pay the people who are here something for their time and talent, right?
Mm.
We didn't even come close to that. We only hit 3K, and with Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. So we went to GoFundMe, and we said, okay, instead of 80, because either it's too high, maybe the Transformer community isn't big enough, whatever, we took it down to 20. We said, we're just going to get the equipment that we need, and everybody's just going to continue, voluntarily, and that was the agreement. So we brought on our voice actors long time ago, 2015. And we recorded all their lines between 2015, 2016, 2017 is when we stopped. We had one of our voice actors who's he's very vocal politically. I didn't know how engaged, right? But we live in a culture where you can't have a different view because automatically you're going to be labeled something. So he told me, I think it was in 2021 or 2022, he was actually working on some actual paid jobs as a voice actor, and someone complained about him, because of his political stance, and he actually ended up losing both of his jobs back then. His bosses caved to the woke mob that came after him there. He told me about it from a generalistic point, and I'm like, all right, well, I just thought it was just his views, conservative, pro-gun, pro-life, whatever the case may be, right? So I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. I was going to have you as a VA director. You can take over that on the next project, so you keep going. I'm not going to cancel you. So he's like, yeah, right on. So at the beginning of this year, I started to do interviews with my talents to promote them, get their name out there, to increase, their possibilities of doing more and actually getting paid, since this is for free. I had no idea the extent of the political battles or the Twitter battles that were going on between this voice actor and this portion of the Transformer community. The Twitter, I call it the Twitter wars, because that's really what it boils down to. And so when I did the interview and I posted it, like the next day, somebody recognized it. Then they called their buddy. They played the telephone game. The next person called the next person. Then they all got on Twitter. And within 24 hours, it was like it was like rage. It was like a hornet's nest have been rattled up and shaken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, so what do you know what the views were? So this is all coming from Twitter.
Yeah, this was just it was massive Twitter. So apparently, the voice actor, he had, see, here's the thing. I don't know how this all got started. I can only see from one point, and it's whatever they're choosing to post. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
very manipulative. We're not seeing the entire conversation. We're not seeing all the details, all the context. So they're just posting what they want people to see to trigger their emotions and trigger their outrage. I initially, like I said, I didn't know, so I took my stance as like, whatever, right? But then the next day, one of my other artists, she was my storyboard artist. She came to me and she was freaking out. She's like, oh, we're being attacked on Twitter. Check this out. Look what's going on. I didn't know about this, and so on and so forth. And I felt bad for her and her sister, who's also a VA. I felt bad for the two of them. So I started to do digging, and I started to look at what the actual verbiage was and so on. And I got to admit, some of the words, the way that he expressed himself was poor. He could have chosen better words, no doubt about that. In some cases, it seemed like it was generalized. But again, I'm only seeing one side of the story. When I actually talked to him, I got his perspective, his views, and I'm like, dude, that's perfectly fine. And his main comment or his main focus was how the rainbow community or Skittles community is essentially going after kids and trying to invoke this doctrination into children. And that's where he's like, this is wrong. This shouldn't be. Let children be children and stop trying to alter their innocence. And I have to agree with that.
Yeah, we're in a weird time, man, where we can't agree to disagree. Like, why can't, if you don't like what he has to say, then just block him, mute him, or what? I don't know. You have different tools to use. And my first thought is, I do have a couple questions on that, but my first thought is, it feels like this, and I just use the word woke. I don't even know what to replace it with yet, but this type of mob mentality, it's almost like they never create anything. They're always destroying something. Like there was this story that came out about, I didn't even read the article, but the headline is Aretha Franklin's song, "You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman," was a problem for a group. I don't know how serious that was or whatever, but it just seems like, damn, make your own song. Make a beautiful song. You don't like the guy who does the voiceovers for the Transformers? Do your own voiceovers. Do your own something. Does it feel like it's designed to just destroy your project, that person's career?
I think it's a little bit of both, but what I think it comes down to is it's a power trip, right? So think about it this way: you're an athlete, I'm an athlete. I still play sports to this day. When you play sports and you play a competitive team and you beat the team, you're on a high. You're on a, yeah. Let me bring on the next team. I'll beat you guys next time, or whatever the case may be. So I think with the little victory that they got, whenever it started, that went to their head, and they're like, all right, on to the next. And now I think they're purposely looking for racism everywhere and bigotry everywhere and misogyny everywhere. I shared a post that has 3 shot glasses. They're all half full. And it says, the optimist sees it half full, the pessimist sees it half empty, and the woke mob sees the other one as racist, right? That's kind of how it is. They just see everything through a certain type of lens that I can't really comprehend because, like you and I have talked about, we didn't grow up with this stuff.
Yeah, this is a whole different thing than what we grew up with. I don't remember anything like this happening. It reminds me of this story here with this limited run games. I haven't covered it, but many other people have. And this is an article from Daily Mail that you're seeing right now. Video game firm fires woman after trans activist publicly branded her a transphobe for following conservative accounts and voicing excitement over Harry Potter game. So this person here allegedly followed I follow all kinds of accounts. I follow left, establishment, populist. I mean, any type of account I follow. So how can you make a judgment on that? And looks like she got fired because of it. This is a story that was covered on a lot of different outlets. What's your take? Because you had to deal with it firsthand, where they're coming for someone that you're working with on a project. So how did you go about handling that?
So that's a great question. So, be it that I am conservative, and be it that I've been seeing this type of behavior for the past several years, and just watching people capitulate to these other people, to the mob, and it's never good enough for them. It doesn't satisfy them because they're going on to the next thing. Unless that person that they're focused on is utterly destroyed, nothing is good for them. So knowing that was my initial stance. I was going to defy them no matter what. The moment I started to rethink things is when my storyboard artist came to me, and she's a woman, young. She's not conservative. She's actually part of their group. So I knew she was going to be influenced, but I didn't. I thought that they were attacking her, which is sad because she had nothing to do with it, and she didn't even know about it. So I was like, all right, let me not think about myself and let me think about others. But as I was talking to the voice actor himself, she actually sends me a message in the midst of that. And it's like, look, me and my sister were going to drop out of the project. It is what it is. Okay, so I didn't have to worry about them. And what I did was I just wanted to think about how I would handle it, because I don't disagree with his views. Children are children. Listen, I watched a Dave Chappelle comedy show not too long ago on YouTube. It was a clip. And he was talking about how he misses old school gays. Old school gays just wanted to be gay. But the new school gays, he can't get down with, because the new school gays, not only do they want to be gay, but they want you to be gay. They want the world to be gay. They want animals to be gay. They want children to be gay. They want everything to be gay. He can't get down with that. That's what he said. And it's absolutely right. I've been around gay people since I was a kid. My barber, my family had friends that were gay. They never pushed this stuff on them. They never tried to teach you to be gay. They never tried. But this generation, this movement, it's like, no, it's we want to teach it to the kids.
Yeah, they probably want a gay transformer in there, and
Oh, no. They already have it. They already have it.
Oh, do they have one in your project or?
No, not in my
Oh,
project, but in IDW,
mm,
in IDW Comics,
are you serious?
who had the licensing for Transformers, they came up with the first gay Transformers. I think 2015, something like that. And so there's several gay Transformer characters, and that doesn't
Okay.
make sense to me, but okay.
Gay Transformers?
Yeah.
They got gay. They're robots, right? I just want to make sure I'm clear on this.
Yeah. And so the funny part is it hasn't been in the cartoons, right? That was just a comic book company, and eventually they went down. As a matter of fact, Eric July actually touched on it on one of his episodes last year. But now it's starting to infiltrate the cartoon. The most recent cartoon is called Earthspark, and they're starting to inject the pronoun and the identity politics. It's like there was a new Transformer that came online on Earth, and Optimus Prime used the incorrect pronoun or used a specific pronoun, and when one of the Earthlings told them, "Oh, that's the wrong pronoun," so they're starting to massage that in there, and you already know where that's going.
Oh man, not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, that's fine, but it's just a little weird for me. Is this who it is? I'm just trying to look it up. Always a prowl, never a bride. Autobot Prowl is one of the more notable revealed as gay in the IDW continuity.
Yeah, it's supposedly him, Ratchet, and Drift, if I'm not mistaken, and now one of the characters from the Prime show is Knockout. In the Prime show, he was like, I would consider him Metro. I never thought of him as gay. He was Metro. He was always
Mhm.
looking, vanity wise, right?
Yeah,
But he didn't.
yeah. Hmm.
That's how I saw him. But in the comics, they turned him gay, so it is what it is.
I'm just trying to figure out now. I'm kind of interested. Like, how do we know that he's gay? Like,
So
how did
this
they
is
announce that?
this is the character right here, as a matter of fact.
That's the gay character?
That's well in the comics. Yeah,
Oh, in
that's
the
the gay
comics.
character. Yeah.
Okay. Is that so? How do we know? Is that Pink or something? Like, how do we know it's gay?
Uh,
Not that Pink would even be gay.
you have to read the comics, and I guess he's interested in another male robot. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I miss the good old days. That's all I know. I miss the good old days where this stuff. Listen, if two adults wanted to be gay, be gay. But children. But again, these people are masters at changing words and changing the meanings to words and so on and so forth. And we touched on. I sent you a couple of screenshots on the word obesity. Right? Obesity used to be a medical term when you're overweight, when you're severely overweight.
Yeah.
It wasn't offensive, and could it be used as an insult? Sure. I mean, you and I grew up in the 80s. We called people fat all the time, and it's like, whatever. Okay, I'm fat. Big deal.
Yep.
And so now it's a slur word. Obesity is a slur word to these people, and so much so that some people are considering it to be equivalent to the N word, and that's just so stupid.
So yes, if you don't know that the word obese, it's been discussed on Twitter that there are people who, and this is how they feel. We're dealing with people who live life through their emotions. That's what they do. That's
Yeah.
how they're easily manipulated. And the emotion is, and I understand obese is a strong term. It can be. It sounds like a harsh term, obese. Like, if you call somebody fat, that's one thing. But if you like, man, that bro is obese, then you got a different picture in your mind. I don't know if you saw this TikTok of this woman eating I don't know what she was eating off of her stomach. Did you see that? Oh
No.
gosh, I gotta find it. But that's what I talk about when I mean obese. So I understand that that's a strong term, and I can understand getting into your feelings about the strong term. But to turn it around and to start to use it as a term, as you kind of using it as a defense mechanism to say, no, you can't call me this because it's like the N word. That goes to another level, because now if you say it's the equivalent of the N word, then that's going towards the line of hate and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right, and that's exactly what they do. So the minute if you oppose any one of their views, it's automatically hate speech. If you are not okay with certain things, then you're homophobic, you're transphobic. Look, for instance, yeah, you and I, we grew up on hip hop. You remember the R&B singer Genuine?
Oh yeah, yep.
Love
My
his songs.
point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So my favorite was In Those Jeans, but that's another story. So, but listen, so it was a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly how, but he was on a show and he was being interviewed, and there was I think a trans person there, and they wanted to kiss him, and he's like, no, I don't swing that way. I'm straight. And so they went after him. It was short. I don't think the mob was as powerful as it is now, but they went after him as being transphobic. So if you refuse to
Oh.
date a trans person, you are transphobic.
And then they can, if they got the power, they can legislate this stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, Representative Lee, Sheila Lee in Texas has a bill that would, I think, it would cover that kind of stuff and make it a crime to kind of even talk about it or make memes about it and all that kind of stuff. So they came for you. Sounds like the damage was a couple people on on your project had to leave that weren't even involved with it. So so where are you at with that? Do you have to refill those positions, or where are you at?
Yeah, yeah. So we did have, and I imagine that we're going to have more because I haven't contacted any of the original voice actors. Like I said, all of these recordings were done between 2015 and 2017. I know that there's one who is active on Twitter and was part of that group, and so I imagine we're going to lose some voice actors as well. But it is what it is. We'll just have to recast. What's sad is that these people are not going after the person involved anymore. They're starting to branch out. So if you're associated with the project and you don't leave, then you are evil. And I've seen that myself. That's what they are using to refer to me as. I'm evil. I'm also a bigot. I'm also a homophobe. I'm also a racist, and so on and so forth. So,
Man, so are you now worried about, like, how are you going to handle it? Like, have they come for you then?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah. They've come for me. If you look at it, there's people saying that they hate me more than they hate him, because I've condoned it. I haven't taken a stance. I haven't taken a position. I'm supporting it by allowing him on. Look. The project is 99% done. This guy plays 6 different characters. You really want me to get rid of him and re-record everything and redo the lips, because the variations, like when you do, it's like drawing a piece of artwork. You're never going to replicate it exactly the same. There's going to be variations. So you want me to manipulate all the scenes for all the characters on the new. It's absolutely absurd. Not only that, I'm not going to be held responsible for all. I told you we had over 20 people. Do I have to now start checking what each person says, what each person comments, what their views are? This project is for free, man. I don't
Yeah.
have time for baby stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow. This thing is crazy. We were talking about obese just a second ago. I did find the
Oh my
clip,
gosh.
and this is not to. I really don't want to make fun. It's really sad. Uh,
It is the
yeah,
health
but
issue.
it's a health issue, and then on top of that, this is from TikTok. On top of that, you have an algorithm issue because I don't know the context behind this. I'm going to try not to laugh. I don't know the context behind this, but I know in my head what's algorithm friendly or not in a way. I'm not always right, but I got it in my head. And she is what you could call overweight, obese, and she knows if she plays this up, it will go viral. It's possible. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get a 6-pack, man. I'm trying to get back to when I was 18. And one of the biggest things was I was eating ice cream for some reason, probably stress eating ice cream at night. And I can that was probably me. I wasn't on TikTok, but I was eating my ice cream and getting that high from the fat and the sugar and all that. But we should be able to call what it is. It doesn't have to be a mean spirited thing, but
Yeah.
but that's where it ends up. Is you destroy things that are beautiful and you end up with a sad situation. Like, unfortunately, what we saw there, in my opinion, is sad.
Yeah, and it leads to heart conditions, diabetes, and not to say that if you know nobody's ever going to deal with those types of conditions. No, but you are speeding it up. You are feeding those types of things, if you will, right? I don't know if you can access my Facebook page. I posted this. I think it was on either Sunday or Monday. Took a picture of where I was before when I was by medical terms considered obese, and where I'm at now. If you can bring that up, and what people have to do is you got to make a decision, man. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to look like this. I don't want to feel lazy. I don't want to feel sluggish. I don't want to feel unhealthy. I want to look good. When you look good, your self-esteem goes up, your energy goes up, you exuberate this positive vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna try. Did you post it recently?
Yeah, I posted it like either Sunday or Monday.
Okay, let me see if I can
But
find it
while
real
you're
quick.
looking while you're
Yeah.
looking that up, I'm gonna say this because, and going back to the project, I don't think I answered your question. So the funny part is that, okay, these people, some people have decided to leave. Hey, that's fine. We've got a lot of people that are looking to come in. We've had, I think, I want to say over 30 different emails that have come in to audition for the sequel, and we've had about 5 different artists send in their request to join the artistic team. At the end of the day, it's been a minimal impact on our project. I thought at first we were going to see, like, I was honestly thinking that more than half of my audience would disappear by taking the stance that I took, to be honest with you. But the first 36 hours, like I said, it was like a hornet's nest. I'm like, holy cow. We dropped from 29.2K subscribers before this started. We dropped to 29 by the
Ooh,
third day. So I'm like, holy cow, maybe half, right?
wow.
By, I think it was yesterday, I sent you the message.
Mhm.
Yeah, yesterday we went back up to 29.2. So essentially, mathematically speaking, I did the calculations. We only lost 0.7% of our subscribers. That's not even 1%. And you should see the comments that are out there. This is horrible. You're going to take a loss. Nobody's going to want to watch this. Everybody's going to leave. And that's it. They couldn't be further from the truth. They must think that they either they have more power than they think they do, or they think that they're bigger than they are. I don't know. But as long as companies continue to capitulate to them, they are going to continue to progress in their movement. It's not until companies say, you know what, I'm not gonna bow down to the 1%. I have 99% of customers that aren't into this, don't really care about it, and that's what I need to look at.
Yeah, so it's a good. I think it ends in a good way. This story. If you're just tuning in, Carlos has this great animation project built off the love of great storytelling from the Transformers back in the '80s, the '90s, and Beast Wars and all that stuff. And there was a voice actor on the project who had opinions that some people didn't like, and the woke mob didn't like it, and they tried to come to take him down. And as you just heard, they couldn't do it. And this kind of ties into that. The mental fortitude. This is the post, I believe. Is this what you're
Yep.
talking about? This
Yep.
is the mental fortitude to fight through and get yourself to where you want to be. Take a look at this. This is Carlos straight up off of Facebook. It's always a process and it isn't easy, but needs to get done. Lost some definition due to the surgery, but I'll get back to peak performance by springtime. Each pick is 2 years apart from another. And here he goes right here. I don't even recognize you there. And
Yeah,
there
man, that's how fat I got.
and there you are now. Look how you wanna you sculpt your body. How did you get there? Did you get there by blaming the word obese for your situation, or how did you get there?
Yeah, so first I created a safe space for myself, right?
Yeah, safe
No,
spaces don't get you results like that.
no, they don't, man. Hey, man, it's hard work. Everything in life is hard work, man. Anything worth having is hard, right? So what I did was, I worked out. I built myself a gym in my garage, right? I mean, you could go to the gym; it's the same, but I tend to, the traffic. Oh, it's cold outside. I know. I tend to make excuses. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna build a gym in my garage, so that way I have no excuses. And I worked out 5-6 days a week, doing lifting, doing the insanity workout, and watching what I ate. I would let go on the weekends, but throughout the week, yeah, I'd watch what I eat.
Yeah, it takes discipline, and that's where I'm at. I'm really watching what I eat now. watching the calories and what I'm eating, and cut out a lot of bread, not completely, but yeah, it takes discipline, and that's the same type of discipline that you're using to keep this project going, even as the woke mob. Man, did you ever think the woke mob would come for a project, a free project out of love, just to Transformers?
You know what? It did cross my mind when I started to become vocal politically, and I said, you know what? At some point, somebody's going to come across something that they don't like, and they are going to come after me. But I thought it was going to be me. I had no idea that it would be one of my voice actors. Here's the funny part, though: the difference between us and them, and I say us and them as people who think rationally versus irrationally, is that we can look beyond and just do what needs to get done. Here's what I mean. Had another voice actor that I came across his personal page about 2 years ago when the whole pandemic was happening, right? And he put it, and I recognized his name just on a forum or something like that, or a post, and I was like, oh, cool. Let me see what he's about. When I looked at it, sure enough, it said, all people that have not gotten the shot should die, right?
Wow.
Oh, so here's the funny part. They wanted me to cancel one VA because according to them, he wished death on a particular community, which he did not. If you actually read it, he did not. He said, if you have a problem with people going after little children, then you should kill yourself, right? And that was his quote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means anybody. That doesn't mean that that's specific to a community. Like if that offends you, then you should off yourself, right?
Yeah.
So they took it and took it out of context, and they're like, "Oh, he was wishing death on the LGBTQ." No, that's not what he said. But anyhow, so they're after him for that. But this guy was okay doing a death wish for people who didn't take the shot, and there's no backlash there. So when I read that, I just said, "Wow, this guy's a leftist nut job." All right, I kept on scrolling. Never once did I contact that guy and say, "Hey, man, dude, that was wrong. I'm not jabbed. You can't talk like that. That offends me. I'm outraged. My kids, you're wishing death on me, my kids, my family." I didn't do any of that, man. I just kept on scrolling and left it. I was like, whatever. And I never thought about not bringing him back for the sequel. I don't care. I don't care about people's personal view on this particular project.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm thinking about as well, because I definitely I'm not bending the knee. I have already made that decision. I am not bending the knee and changing my position just to appease anybody else. What is the point of living life if I have to bend my knee to appease you for no
Correct.
reason? When I'm not threatening anybody. I'm staying peaceful. I'm just talking. It's not going to happen. But if people know your views, what major company will hire you? It's not very, if they know your views online. That's why a lot of people don't use their real names. And I believe it was Jordan Peterson that tried to come out and say, hey, if somebody's not using their real name, yada yada yada. But you have to understand, people have to work. When you put a job application in, they're searching your social media. So it's not just big names. It's not just the top head honchos. It's your project. It's you. It's me. It's you, me in the chat. Especially if you're on a university campus. You're on a very liberal centered place. Do you have any advice for because what do you think about that for your day job? Do you have any concerns there, or what's your thoughts on making it through when you're out with opinions that everybody doesn't like?
Yeah, that's it's such a tricky. We live in such a weird time because back in the day there was no problem. You could be political and I mean, have your own views, but there was no social media. There was no, people getting offended for breathing incorrectly, right? So it really is such a weird time that we live in. I feel like, honestly, man, these people have more in common with dictators and communists than they do with actual democracy and liberty, the way that they claim, right? They're full on Marxist, in my opinion. And I think I've shared this with you that, my grandfather, dude, my great grandfather, he was imprisoned in Cuba for speaking out politically against the Cuban government. You know what it is to be in jail for 3 years just because you don't like communism and you don't want to go along with it? And not only was he imprisoned, but my grandfather's properties were seized from him. The soldiers came with machine guns, pointed them at my mother. My mother at the time was only 5 years old. My aunts, my uncles pointed at their head, told them to get out. I mean, that's some pretty scary stuff. So, based on that, seeing the effects of that, I cherish and value freedom of speech, right? So, I'm not going to capitulate. Now, as far as my job goes, man, my job is very leftist. The company that I work for, I can't control that. I stay quiet. I stay in my lane at work, and I don't talk politics at work with anybody unless I know that we have similar views, which I have done, but that's between me and that person. But it's scary. It's scary because these people are shutting down part of our freedom uh, to not offend someone's or hurt somebody's feelings, which is absurd. But
Yeah, and I think for me, back in the day, it was understood that at work, you really didn't talk politics. Like
nah.
nobody really talked politics. Not at schools, in schools, work. And that was to me the reason why that happened in the 90s or whenever I was growing up was out of respect. Like we out of
Yep.
respect, knowing that everybody doesn't believe the same thing, and there's no need to be hashing out those arguments at work. That's just not a place for it. And everything changed to me. Maybe it happened with 2016 with Trump, but 2020, when the Black Lives Matter stuff popped
Oh
off,
yeah.
every company just went straight politics. They tried to probably make it not be politics. It's about Black lives. BS. We know that whole thing was a money laundry scheme for the Democrats. And there was
Correct.
the only people that believed in it were establishment Democrats or establishment Republicans. And that's when everything fell apart to me. All these companies did the Black Lives Matter stuff, and then that's when diversity, equity, and inclusion became big. You had to get in it. ESG blew up. And now we're all in this place where it's like, damn, can I get a job if I don't agree with that?
Yeah, and it's. Oh gosh, and the funny part, what really aggravates me about this entire movement is that to what you and I have alluded to already is that we didn't grow up with this stuff. In the 80s and 90s, all of those things were already there. There was just no hyper focus on it, right? For example, we touched on it on one of my episodes where there was diversity in every show, in every cartoon. I mean, I grew up watching Full House on Friday on TGIF at 8, and then right after that was Family Matters, right? And what frustrates me is like the argument, they have to look like me in order for me to relate to them, like with superheroes. Right now, we're changing all these superheroes, their ethnicity, their race, their gender. How did you ever get into it if you can't identify with the simplicity of good versus evil? Like if you need somebody to look like you, have the same skin color, have the same language, whatever the case, how did you ever? Because your stance is that wasn't there before. So how the heck did you ever get into that stuff to begin with? You know what I mean?
Yep, yep. And you talked about Full House and people of all different backgrounds. I enjoyed it. And Scotty, thanks, Scotty, for stopping by. He's like, Full House, yep, yeah. And then, like you said, Family Matters. That was a great show.
It was a great show. I loved it, man. I would watch, sit there the whole hour watching that. And never once did I look at that and
Yeah.
go, you know what? I'm not black. I can't relate to these people. Just absurd. Absolutely absurd. They were good, wholesome, traditional family shows. They had great people, they had great characters, they had great stories, they had great moral value. Don't do drugs, don't steal, and all that stuff. And then obviously the humor, which was the main focus. But dude, I mean, Saved by the Bell was another one. Oh my gosh, Lisa Turtle was rich. Her parent, both of her parents were surgeons. Oh, that's so alien. No, it was normal. It was common. Why? Because they're black. They can't be surgeons. Well, like I said, this movement it makes it seem like the time that you and I grew up with was more in line with the 1880s versus the 1980s.
Yep. And you use the term like Marxist. And for me, how that resonates is see, you brought up these shows, and all of a sudden, all right after you bring it up, people, Scotty's like, hey, SNL, Kids in the Hall, Wonder Years. I loved Wonder Years. That was one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yep.
And Full House.
Yeah.
And those are shows that kind of brought us together. The Cosby Show, I remember when The Cosby Show was on, the
A
next day,
different
everybody
world.
was talking about A Different World.
Living
So
single.
Living Single, that was a good show too. And so we were looking at all these shows that kind of we could talk about, bring people together. The Marxist point of view, just very general, not getting too James Lindsay in the deep weeds, but in general, to me, when Marxism is about dividing.
Yes.
So even though those shows were you could kind of say it was a white show and a black, kind of say that it wasn't dividing people.
No.
So what they have to do now is ideology that divides. Like either you're with this ideology or you're not. And that wasn't the case. Family Matters could have been called a black show, but it was just a family. That's all it was. Now it's got to be this ideology, this point of view. A lot of stuff Trump hate is getting into. I saw a comic book. I think Eric July was talking about it. It was a indie comic book or something like that that literally had like Trump hate, like people, shooting at Trump supporters in it. It's crazy.
Well, it's funny that you say that because yesterday Mark Dice put up one of his videos and how the left has constantly called for violence, practice violence, advocate for violence against Trump supporters, right? Done shows or music videos or whatever depicting either Trump or Trump supporters and depicting them as evil, associating them with Nazism and so on and so forth and white supremacy. And dude, they are masters. They have become masters at twisting things and getting people to get emotionally charged over nothing.
Yep. I think that's part of the reason that they're going after a project like yours. Maybe I'm just guessing because I'm not as familiar with it, but with why they're going after. But your project is a Transformers project. And that brings that you don't, it doesn't matter if you voted for Biden or Trump. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. You might like Transformers, especially if you're in my age group. My sons have Transformers. They'd watch your movie. And it's apolitical, and they don't like that. If there's anything that's apolitical that gets people together, that really is the antidote, in my opinion, to Marxism. So I think that gives them extra, motivation to try to disrupt it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is twofold. Number one, I do want to address, yes, my channel is for art and transformative. I haven't injected any of my personal politics into it since it's been up since 2007. And this project started in 2014, not an ounce of my political views in either direction, obviously. It has remained just focused on art and transformers. That's true. And that does bother them because they want me to align with them, and I won't. And even if it were people that were on my side, which I've had two individuals come to me and say, "Man, you got to use your platform, Trump. We're losing our society." I said, "I'm not going to do it. That's not what this channel is for." You know what I'm saying? The other component is I'm taking away their power, right? They have a personal thing with this guy, apparently, and I've seen from the Twitter wars that they have, the little outrage that they had. So I know that it's personal with this guy, and because I didn't capitulate to them, I took away their power, and that's why they possibly hate me even more.
Yeah, and then I think that's what you have to do. Standing up to this, I'm not capitulating to you. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to be respectful. That's the thing I like about you too. Is like you stand up, but you didn't get into the mud or anything like that, slinging it at anybody. You're just like, I'm going to stand up, and it's that I'm not firing or whatever, disassociating.
Yeah, you know what? Even when I do political debates online and stuff like that, I never insult the person. First of all, I don't curse. That's just part of me. That's it's part of my faith, right? I teach my kids not to curse. I replace bad words with different words. I get laughed at all the time, like when I'm playing volleyball and I make a mistake. Instead of saying the S word, I go sugar. And I get laughed at all the time. So, but that's just me. And so I have children on my channel. I have to be mindful. I don't If I'm not teaching my children curse words, why am I going to teach somebody else's kids curse word, right? They'll learn that stuff out there. I'm sure they can switch another channel by one click and they'll learn it there. But I don't want it on my conscience that I'm teaching them bad things, right? So I have, number one, the children to think about first and foremost over anybody's views or feelings or whatever. So, I mean, I try to remain respectful even when I do political debates. What I enjoy is making people look dumb. I do that, but I do it in a respectful manner.
Of course. Friend of show, Ray Studios, coming through. Thank you for the super chat, Ray. He's on vacation, coming through on the Prestige Culture Dynamics channel that we started. just drinking a soda while watching my friends have a great conversation. My vacation has officially started. I'm going to have
I'm
a
jealous.
great time.
I'm jealous.
Chill. Yes.
Enjoy it,
Good.
brother. Enjoy it.
Enjoy. Thank you so much, Ray. And I'm going to touch on this. I haven't talked about this topic. It's along the lines the Ron DeSantis decision. Ron DeSantis. We're talking about standing up to the woke mob. Ron DeSantis had that speech. It was after he won. Were you there, Carlos?
Yes, yes, I was. I was at his
Did,
victory party.
now was the victory party speech the one where he said we got to stand up to the woke mob or
Yep,
whatever?
yep.
Yep. That was
It
one
was
of
a
his best speeches, I
great
think.
speech. Let me tell you, I had a great time at that event. There were so many people. It was great to be around other conservatives and other people that just we were all having a good time, food, drinking, beverages, and just listening to what was going on. It was great. I never expected I would enjoy that.
Excellent. And you see Ron DeSantis standing up again. You might have heard this. Backlash grows against DeSantis based on his decision to block AP African American Studies class. And what the people who believe in this do is they'll take the nastiest thing on earth and wrap it up into something that's supposed to be good and then say, hey, here it is. This is AP African American Studies class. If you don't eat it, if you don't take it, if you don't like it, then you're whatever name we call you. And we look at the article. If you don't know Ron DeSantis, they I think they were testing this program of this doing an AP African American Studies program, and I'm actually surprised they don't already have one, but that because it's a big thing in college to major in that you can. And Ron DeSantis in Florida said no. Why did they say no? If you go down to the article here, what they saw was the state education department listed concerns in the curriculum. So just because you call it African American history or whatever, I still need to look at the content. It
Correct.
included topics, yeah, intersectionality and activism.
Hmm.
What is that? Is that what is that? Is that teaching opinion as fact? Black feminist literary theory
Literacy
and
theory.
literacy theory and black queer studies. And why does it take if you believe in this identity of black or whatever, why does it take Ron DeSantis to step in and say, queer theory, what does that have to do with African American history? He has to step in and say that. There's no what black leader or whoever personality is coming in and saying, wait, why are you doing queer theory with African American history? And when you start talking about queer theory, that is an opinion. So are you teaching an opinion as fact? Can we debate it?
Correct. So here's the
Yeah.
interesting thing, because of the BLM movement that you mentioned, right? It's you're automatically deemed a racist if you go against anything that has the word black in it, right? As we're seeing right there. If it said white queer literacy, I would equally be against it, right? You know what I mean? It has
Mhm.
these people are the ones that are putting the additional word in there, but if you take it out, it's still I'm sure his stance would still be the same because I know my stance would still be the same, right? Remember how I told you that I got called racist for the first time just because I opposed Obama?
Yep. Yep.
And I'm like, well, so you're calling me a racist? You're insinuating I'm a racist because I don't like Obama. Okay, I'm voting for Ben Carson. This was before he dropped out of the race. I'm voting for Ben Carson. Last time I checked, he's also black. So how does my racism work there? It's so pathetic, these people.
Yep, yep, and man, but the bright side that I see is that more and more people are kind of waking up as they get more and more crazy with all this stuff, like
Yep.
the obese stuff, like that's trending online. It's not waking the general public isn't watching that; they don't know about all that stuff, but there are people who are online, like myself, who I used to be an AOC supporter. I was more aligned with that type of approach. And you just wake up and you're like, wait a second, this is not right. And I think more and more people are slowly waking up, and that's going to give momentum to turn this around.
I hope so, man, because I mean, I don't like lies. I really can't stand them, right? And so to see the facade of this woke culture movement go on into our society, into our movies, into our schools. Those words that you touched on, diversity, equity, inclusion, I want to crap all over it because, again, I didn't grow up in a time where that wasn't there. It just wasn't the folk. Like, to me, everything was natural. Maybe it's because I grew up in the hood, and 99% was minority. I don't know what it is, but to me, films were not the movies were not filmed in the hood, right? They were still filmed in Hollywood, and we still had all that stuff back then. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep. So let's do this. Let's let everybody know how to reach out to you, how to follow the project. I think your project will resonate with a lot of people on this channel, where we loved shows from back in the day, and we really just wanted to get together when it came to like sports. I don't watch them. I was a big NBA fan. I don't watch it anymore. And not that it's always woke, but just when it is, it's just so cringe to me.
Yeah,
When I go to sports, I don't even watch ESPN. I used to have ESPN on all the time in the background. When I go to those places, I want to escape from politics, not get back into it.
correct.
But let everybody know, how do they reach out? How do they reach out to you and follow the project?
Yeah, yeah. So we've got our YouTube channel. It's called Prime Animations. Like I said, the project that we're working on is Galvatron's Revenge. We do have a GoFundMe campaign where if you donate $50, and all of that goes to support the project itself. 100% of that is being poured into the project. We get software, we get hardware. We get special effects bundles that we actually have to purchase because we don't have a special effects artist. So those types of things help keep the channel. But if you do manage to donate 50 or more, we will send you, as a gift, we will send you actually a Blu-ray copy of the rendered film. The rendered version is not going to be posted on YouTube. An unrendered version will be. So that's another thing. They started a vicious rumor that there's some type of paywall, and if there is no paywall, everybody's going to see it. It's just whether you're going to get a rendered version or an unrendered version. That's the only difference, right?
Oh, great, man. Excited to see that project. And Ray Studios, another super chat. Thank you. $2. Said, Friday or Saturday, we're going to do my birthday stream. We can talk a little chop right now. Are you free Saturday at all, Carlos?
This Saturday is my anniversary with my wife, so no.
Oh, no, you're not free.
Yeah, no.
No, not. Let me make sure you're not free.
Not that day.
So good. Yeah, take care of that. That's going to be beautiful. I'm going to be free Saturday, Ray. So let's hook something up. I'm planning on streaming Saturday, so we can stream Saturday and talk about that. Well, thanks, Carlos. Any last things before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say, thanks for having me on, obviously. And if anybody wants to come on by, I know it's cartoon and it's kiddish, but like I said, if you grew up in that era and you like that stuff, please come on. I could, use the more subscriptions. And again, it's absolutely free. You just go and you just watch and, just see something cool. The hope is that something comes out of it. Who knows? Maybe the day of tomorrow I'll do my own thing, right? Because that's where my passion is. It's always been with art, and that's what I really love to do. I can't, like, if I lost the ability of my right arm, I think I would go into depression, because I use that to draw, and it's soothing. It's medicine for me, right?
It's a beautiful thing, and I will absolutely look to support the projects. I think that's my role, because I'm not artistic at all. My role is to kind of support and do this, have you on, and tell people about what you're doing and the great work there. Well, thanks a lot, Carlos. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you next time, all right?
Yep. All right. Take care.
Be safe, brother. Later.
Yep. Bye. All right, so that's Carlos. I'm going to be signing off here in a second. I just want to give a shout out to Jordan Lott, friend of the show, great friend of the show. We're going to be celebrating, man, when Dave announces, hopefully. Jordan Lott says, exactly, the people in charge tell us to not be political, but they're the first ones to be political. They don't want they don't want discussion. Let's have a little comedy from Dave Smith and Jimmy Dore. Absolutely. The comedy is great, man. That's why they had to kill comedy, too. Got people laughing at the wrong type of things. Well, thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Appreciate you. I'll be in touch. Peace.